Hi there. Thank you for joining us on this evening. My name is Dr. Lavelle McGarry, and thank you for joining us at the Prophetic Colloquium. Please tell a friend, share the link, tell someone. And for those that will be watching us here on YouTube, again, please share the link. I'm so looking forward this evening for this session that we're having. Again, our topic on this evening is the brain trust. The brain trust. Again, share the link, tell a friend, tell someone you don't want to miss this. Please join us. Please join us. Again, tell a friend, share the link, let them know to join us again. Um, and if you are joining us from another state, please in the comment section, just let us know where you're from. Let us know where you're from, where you're joining us from. Just list your state. Say, hi, I'm from Texas. Hi, I'm from Houston. Hi, I'm from Atlanta. Hi, I'm from the Carolinas. Tell us, join us. Let us know where you're from. Glad to reach out to you. Again, don't forget to tell a friend, share the link, and join us this evening. We're going to have an awesome time. When I said awesome time, we're going to chat just a little bit about the um, prophetic colloquium. What's a colloquium? A discussion, high level discussion where we're sharing, and you'll probably know it most likely as a conference or a place, of symposium where we're discussing and sharing topics or hot topics. But in doing so, again, tell a friend, share the link. I'm excited. And for those like me that takes note, have pen and paper. But if for those that are watching the replay, you could just press hashtag replay. And so for that, we're just going to go forward. And our topic on tonight, the brain trust. What is the brain trust? Okay, what is the brain trust? Well, the brain trust is a term that is originally described as a group of people that are called advisors. And what do they advise? They advise yet political arenas, political topics, the economic system, anything that's dealing with society and how the culture or society is going to be affected by it. And then we also have the brain trust when it comes to or in areas of academia, education, finance, religion. So they're called yet the brain trust. The brain trusts are advisors that will advise when it comes to the political candidates or academics, and they give what their expertise. And you say, well, what does that have to do with the body of Christ? What it has to do with the prophetic trust. We're going to go there. Okay, we're going to go there. And so again, the brain trusts are a group of advisors, counselors, intelligentsia. They're those that share their insight. They give their foresight and also their hindsight, dealing with the revelation, yet the mind of Christ. They are the revelators of time. They're intercept time. They are called, we call them solutionists. Okay, we call them solutionists. Another word for the brain trust, which you know it based on modern day terms, is called think tank. You know it today as think tank, a body of experts providing advice and ideas on specific political and economic problems. Again, you know it as think. So for this brain trust doesn't make sense. That's what it means. Modern day think tank. And so we're going to deal with those chosen to be advisors, why you're an advisors, and if you are in ministry or embarking in ministry and you are transitioning, who are your advisors? Who are your advisors? Who do you have in based on your inner circle that's advising you, giving you insight, that's sharing yet your foresight, sharing your insight based on your discernment, what you've heard, what you've seen, and who is in your inner circle that's sharing wisdom, knowledge, and giving you insight. Okay, so you being that advisor, you have the fortitude. What's the fortitude? The fortitude is a Latin word that calls, or it means fortis. What is fortis? Fortis means strong, which means you are that advisor. You have the fortitude, which means, again, fortis, which means you have the strength of the mind. The strength of the mind. You have the fortitude. You have the strength of the mind. So that's why when you're being attacked and when you're feeling fatigue and you're going through something right now, because there's a lot of people complaining that they're feeling lethargic. They're feeling like no energy. There's a lot going on right now that's airing and in the space of time. And they're all said is taken away from them, their energy, and is depleting them of moving forward. And that's just a common conversation throughout the world. But because there's something going on within the earth realm, all of this is to attack, to slow down mobility, and also to again to battle the mind. That's why when you're going through something based on you pursuing purpose, based on you achieving a goal, based on you progressing or moving forward, where does the battle begin? In the mind. It comes to weaken the mind. So that's what fortitude means. Fortitude again means fortes in the Latin, which means strong, which means describing the strength of the mind. Though we have the capacity, though we have longevity, though we have the inner strength, there is still what? The strength of the mind. And the strength of the mind, or the core of the mind, or the thoughts of the mind, deals with the consciousness of God. So that's why, again, that's what comes to frustrate you. That's why we're going back and forth, double-minded. We're in and back and forth with our thoughts. Doesn't make sense that we go back and forth in our mind a lot. Why? It's to weaken who you are, to fight, to constrict, to restrict and condense, or limit restriction, limit movement. Where first thoughts, that's where the negative chatter comes from. So you need to target these negative chatters, target these negative talks, and basically make up your mind. Because guess what? If you don't make up your mind about things, which means when you don't make up your mind, it's still a decision. It's still a decision. So we just talked about trends and advisors. That's going down. There's presentation, what it is, and this group of advisors coming together, okay, as solutionists. And another word for brain trust is what? Think tank, a body of experts providing advice or ideas, specifically political realm and or economic problems. Again, so when we come together as a group, we're dealing with the fortitude. And we also said the prophetic fortitude, because when you release the mind, when you release yet the thoughts, the mind of God. And when you release the mind, the thoughts of God, you're releasing time, intercepting time. Okay. So when you are releasing the fortitude of the prophetic release, or the prophetic fortitude, you're releasing the mental strength, the consciousness of the mind of God. Okay. So I do have scriptures to back it up, and I'll just have three or four of them, because you're like, okay, what are you talking about? For those that are dealing with the brain trust, that's not biblical. Yes, it is biblical. Second Chronicles 20:20-2. Jehoshaphat military advisors came and informed him, we've been attacked by a vast invasion force from Aram beyond the Dead Sea. Be advised, they've already reached Harazim Tamar, also known as En Gadi. Okay, and we know them in the Bible considered as advisors. Another word that we know them as, based on the intelligentsia, we're going to discuss that, or advisors of time, or seers of time. We know them as the Issachar, or the Issachar anointing. So which means this is not just made up. It has been going on since the beginning of time. Okay, another scripture is Proverbs 15:22. Plans go wrong when there is no counsel, but with many advisors it will succeed. Proverbs 15:22. Plans go wrong when there is no counsel, but with many advisors it will in front of Harold, let's go forward and establishing ministries and going through transition, based on you establishing or building. Who are, again, I'm going to go back there. I'm going to keep going back there. Who are your advisors? Who do you counsel with? And I know a lot of us seek out even confirming word. Nobody wants to seek out counsel. We need to have counsel. We need to have a group of advisors that will be able to share the mind and the will and the counsel of the Lord, be able to speak yet the consciousness. And that, because even in speaking consciousness or being advancers of time, those that have tasted time, they're speaking the advancement of time. They have already intercepted time. So they will give you a timestamp, a time approval, an intersection of time. So therefore, when I say the intersection of time, they're letting you know, I see this, I've seen this, it's going forward. So again, based on that, who is your counsel? Where is your counsel? And we another based on biblical terms, we have a lot of prophetic oh gosh, it just slipped out of my mind, but a lot of prophetic company of the prophetic. That too is a counsel, and you having an eyes to see and having ear to hear. Again, we seek out counsel by way of prophetic word, but it's not enough. Even though they are confirming what you've heard and what you've seen, you still have to have that counsel. Okay, and you'll say, well, what if your counsel have deceived you? And what if your counsel have led you down the wrong path? And what if your counsel, of course, we've all been there, done that, but still, the blueprint based from the beginning of time all the way to the end, there's always a counsel based on, and then there's strength in numbers. When I said there's strength in numbers, um, based on you going forward, you have to have your arms and your legs. We have a lot of them in the body of Christ as a team of one. We call them renegades, a team of one. I'll do it. I got it by myself, whatever. But at the same time, and I do understand trust. I do understand when you're in a place and you have the capacity and you're building from the standpoint of capacity, and yet your team are, though they have ears to hear and eyes to see, and they don't have the capacity, which means a lot of us have taken some people into some places illegally. We didn't know that it was illegal, but it was illegal. Why? Because they didn't have the forbearance, or they didn't have the burden or the strength or the capacity to bear the weight, bear the weight of the assignment, bear the weight of the glory, bear the weight of the anointing, bear the weight of the assignment again. So we have taken some people into some places and some spaces because they had the language. Just because they have the language, that don't mean they have the influence. Just because they have the language doesn't mean they have the influence. A lot of them come with the language, be able to articulate or have the vernacular based on conversation, and they could commune with you. When you go into that space or phase, then you're able to see if they have the capacity to be able to speak to mentalics. Mentalics, which means intelligent or advancers of time. Mentalics are intelligence or advancers of time. And that's how you know if they have the capacity to lead. That's how you know if they have the capacity to go and grow. Just because they have the language and the vernacular, that doesn't mean they have the capacity or the maturity to be able to enter into some spaces. So you'll be able to know as a leader, to be able to discern based on the mind, based on the capacity, and based on the maturity, what they can bear, how they're growing, what they could carry, what they can produce, what can, my God, what they can intercept, and based on if they are trustworthy and if they are able to carry out the assignment. A lot of us, we pass on the mantle. I don't know why I'm going here. We tend to pass on the mantle like it's a baton for those that don't have the capacity to lead. They don't have the, my God, the longevity, and they don't have the tenacity. They don't have it. So a lot of them, as long as they are with you, they're able to synergize. They're able to, which means by the time they get to you, tap into you, or connect with you, they have the synergistic, when I said fortitude, or the synergistic attitude to move forward. Why? Because they had been such a and based on being connected to you. A lot of them will not know the depth of their assignment or the depth of their purpose until they are connected to you, because though they're going and or growing, when they're connected to you, something has been unlocked, something has been ignited, something has been plucked up. Now their blinders are moved. Now they could see. Now they have been awakened. Because why? You are resetter of time. You just reset time. You are resetter of time. You have calibrated their mind. You have re-engineered their consciousness and thought process. Now they have eyes to see. And now, my God, they're moving with fluidity. They're moving with fluidity. I didn't plan to go there. I'm just shifting. So go with me. Okay, go with. And again, I'm going to use the scripture, Proverbs 15:22. Plans go wrong when there is no counsel. Plans go wrong when there is no counsel, but with many advisors, it will succeed. Daniel 2:28. None of the advisors, enchanters, diviners and astrologers can explain the secret that the king has requested to be known or made known. But there is a God in heaven who reveals secrets the eyes of the revelator that reveals secrets, and he is making known to King Nebuchadnezzar that what will happen in the later days. So a lot of us, even though we are the solutionists and we are tacticians and we are warriors, we need the same DNA. We need those that's wired like us. We need those that are able to tap in. So a lot of the things that our experiences that we're having that's being dragged out and delayed, and some of these seasons that we should have been long overdue when there's, I don't know who or why I'm going here. It seems like you're dragging and you're delaying is because you're lacking yet when I said the counsel, you're lacking the advisors that's going to cut 3 years away from you, take 5 years away, because you need the advisors. You need the advisors, okay? Daniel 3:2. King Nebuchadnezzar summoned the regional authorities, governors, deputy governors, advisors, treasurers, judges, magistrate, and all of the other administration or administrators of the province, ordering them to come to the dedication of the statue that he had erected. Okay, so he's calling all of his councilmen. Okay, 1 King 12:6. While King Rehoboam conferred with his advisors who had worked for his father Solomon during his administration, he asked them, what is your advice? What is your advice as to how I should respond to these people? How I should respond to these people? So yes, wisdom to have counsel. It is have a team. It is wisdom to have those that seize time, intercept time, to be able to speak of time. And it's good to have those that will be able to discern. You picking up the phone and asking a friend, I have a dream. Could you please help me interpret? Help me to understand that there's nothing wrong with that. And they're helping you to understand time, interpret time, or reveal time. But it's still wisdom to have a team of advisors that be able to see yet time, taste time, and now speak or interpret time. Speak and interpret time. Okay, God is looking for you. God is looking for you. He's looking for his advisors. He's looking for his solutionists. He's looking for his tacticians. He's looking for his intelligentsia. What is intelligentsia? The intelligentsia are a people that speaks here not only the mind, but the intelligence of the mind. They critique, they shape, they lead what in politics, they lead in education, they lead in religion, they lead in finances. They are the one that shapes and reshapes the culture. They're the one that shapes and reshapes the society. They shape culture and they reshape society. Okay, so intelligentsia consists of scholars, academics, teachers, journalists, literary writers, seers. Okay, the Issachar, when I said the Issachar anointings, they are shaped, which means that's how their DNA is, to be able to critique, shape, okay, and lead, be able to critique, shape, and lead, reshape a culture, reshape a society. So why intelligentsia? And I'm still talking about brain trust. I'm still talking about brain trust. Why intelligentsia? Why? Because prophet, you are the blueprint. You are the blueprint and you are the template, the mold, the pattern. You are the blueprint, which means you are the design, the talith. You are the template, which means you are the mold, you are the pattern. So whatever you're building has to replicate, has to duplicate the mind of Christ. Whatever you're building has to have the pattern and the duplication to replicate the mind, the consciousness of God. Okay, so you, in your pattern, in your model, my God, you are the carrier of the wave. You are the carrier of the intelligence. You are the carrier of the glory of God. I heard the Spirit of the Lord say, go back over that again. So you intelligentsia, you prophet, you leader, you apostolic prophetic, you fivefold ascension gift, you are the blueprint and you are the template of the mind of Christ. So whatever you're building, establishing based on your business, based on your school, based on your ministry, it should have the pattern, and it should duplicate, and my God, and it should speak of the intelligence of God. And what you're doing in the earth realm based on implementation and execution will definitely, my God, they will be able to see the intelligence of God through your blueprint. And what you're implementing based on your ministry, your assignment, your business, your school, whatever you're building in the earth realm, it speaks of the order and it speaks of the rule of the Lord. Based on your system, based on your model, you are introducing methods. You're introducing the revelation of God. You're introducing the move. How? Through systems, through models, through patterns. You're introducing to a generation ahead a pattern. You're introducing to generations ahead a model. You're introducing to generations ahead what God is speaking in the earth realm, what He's building, what He's releasing in the earth realm for generations ahead. You, prophet, while you're building, implementing, executing by way of ministry, by way of your business, by way of your education, by the place or spaces that you are, you, by your intelligence, by your mind, you are unlocking new levels of liberation. You are unlocking new levels of liberation. Notice I said liberation, because liberation is the act of setting someone free from imprisonment, slavery, and also oppression. I'm going to go over that again. You, by what you're building, what you're implementing, by your prophetic release, by your positioning, you are unlocking new levels of liberation. Notice again, I said liberation. The liberation is the act. You are setting someone free from imprisonment, slavery, of oppression of the mind, of the mind. So liberation is the act, okay? Releasing them from the act, from whatever is holding them. Now, freedom, because you will say, okay, what about freedom? Freedom is the state. Freedom is the state, while liberation is the act. Liberation is the act you are unlocking, whilst freedom is the state. Freedom is a state of not being imprisoned. Freedom is a state of not being enslaved. Freedom is a state of when you are free and liberated. So there is the act of liberation and there is the state of freedom, which means you hold the key to resetting time. You hold the time. And please, just please, let me know this is blessing you. Please tell a friend, share the link, let them know to join us on today, to us on this evening. And for those that will be watching it today, God bless you. For those that will be watching the replay on tonight, good night. God bless you. Okay. So therefore, you hold the key to their liberation. You hold the key. You are the resetter. You are the resetter. You intercept time. You reset time. You unlock time. You change their mental state or you change their physical state by what? The act of liberation, by your prophetic release, by your prayers, by your deeds. You are now unlocking and you are liberating them from what imprisons them, for what oppresses them, and what has enslaved them. Okay, so the term intelligentsia by no means it is not new. Intelligentsia is not new. We know it again. I said it earlier. I'm gonna say it again. We know it based on biblical terms as the Issachars, the seers, the scribe, those that speak yet the mind of Christ. They have a high yet intelligence level, and that they're speaking speaking time, the advancement of time. They're speaking strategies. They're speaking and giving you insight. So those strategically placed, you have those, you could very well be that intelligentsia, and you have those that's connected to you, strategically connected to you, placed in yet your ministry, placed in your job, placed in by way of your company, placed by where they're giving you strategies to be able now for you to move forward in politics, for you to move forward in government, for you to move forward in the marketplace, finance, education, and also in the entertainment sector. Okay, until that time has come. Until that time has come, we've all been there where we're scratching our heads and we're trying to figure it out and we're praying and we're bombarding heaven. God, help me with this. Give me the strategies. Tell me what to do. But when God gives the insight and the download, which means He brain hack your mind. He's given you the code of description. He's given you the code to decipher revelation. He's allowing you to decipher revelation. Because a lot of us have revelation and we're trying to figure it out. Okay. And you know how we do. We see it in part, we hear it in part, but He's allowing you to decipher revelation. He's allowing you, I don't know who this is for. He's allowing you until that time has come. He's allowing you to decipher revelation. Okay. So your outlook. Though we have prophetic release and we're in a place where we can get downloads, you have an angle or a view or an outlook you could very well be seeing it from the present. You could see it from the future, but based on the prophetic release, the download for even for those that are dreamers, you could very well, I said, you see things or the outlook in it via 3D. You see it in part. You see it in the past, the present, and the future. You see it in the past, the present, and the future. So based on that look and based on how you see it, you could very well have the eyes of an eagle. You have precision based on the outlook of the prophetic, or based on the outlook of how you prophetically incite. How you prophetically incite depends on how you were introduced to the prophetic. Your experience with the prophetic, your the way you have been impregnated with the, when I said with the word, and the way you have carried yet this mantle. The way you experience it, the prophetic, is by the way of how you embrace it. It could be by the way of you, by it being authentic, or by the way of being perverted. Again, the way the prophetic was introduced to us, it could be or what we have seen and what we have experienced. It could very well be by the way of the authentic or by the way of perversion, which affects your psychological development. The way the prophetic was introduced to you, the way you see it, the way you embrace it, the way you engulf it, the way you move in it, again, affects your psychological development of how you see yourself prophetically. I'm just going to say, of how you see yourself prophetically. And if you don't embrace who you are, we'll keep looking out through the lens and trying to embrace and engraft and take a hold of someone else's anointing, because now we're like, that's me and that looks like me and God is speaking to me the same way. And so we reject we reject the make, we reject our DNA, we reject the way we're wired, and now we're neglecting who we are because now we want to take a hold of everybody else's DNA. So the way the prophetic was introduced to you is by way of the authentic and by the way of perversion. And so the way you embrace the prophetic by way of maturation, by way of cultivation, and by way of nurturing, it will develop you mentally. It will develop you mentally. It will develop you mentally. And how do we cultivate it? A lot of us spend more time in seeking the word and praying, whatever. So we spend time cultivating and nurturing the gift. We spend time cultivating and nurturing the gift. And we've done so to the point where there's such a separation between the natural man and the prophetic gifting that we could go into some areas and we can move and speak and with the matriculation of yet the prophetic release. But when it comes to the natural man have to catch up. The natural man have to catch up. The natural man now had to catch up to the gifting. So I said that to say this: when you embrace you in totality, embrace you in totality, okay? Because the core of you, it desires your attention. The core of you is speaking to your attention, is speaking to what's in dormancy. The core of you is speaking to what's in dormancy. Another way of putting it is like all creation is waiting for what? What's in dormancy. All creation is waiting for what's in dormancy. So based on the sphere of influence in which you walk in, your rank and rule, you'll be able to, move, and him you move and have your being. But again, based on the matriculation, or you be mature based on your gifting. But the natural man need to be able to what? So you could have the embodiment or move as one. I say that to say this because you will end up getting to some places that your gift have given you grace to go in, but your natural man is not mature. enough to be able to sustain those places. And you will self-sabotage those open doors, because the natural man is not don't have the capacity to be able to maintain those doors. Okay, maintain those spaces. So your wiring, the way you're wired, the way you're built, the way you're structured, okay, speaks of your mental capacity. The way you're wired, the way you're built, the way you're structured speaks of your mental capacity. And so in doing so depends on your level of dominance. So when I say speak of your mental capacity, your mind, when the creator comes to speak with you, when the creator comes to visit you, he comes to hear or an echo of himself. Because remember, we were made in his image and what? Likeness. So when he comes to visit you, when he comes to speak with you, commune with you, he comes to hear an echo of his consciousness. So you are echoing. He hears an echo. He hears his voice speaking back at him. So that's why I said, when now, it's not good. It's not enough to cultivate yet their gift and leave the natural man behind. We have done it. We have cultivated who we are, our gifting, walking in the grace. And when it comes to the natural, there's such a disconnect. That's why there's so much sabotage in the body of Christ. Okay. So with that, and that's why I'm dealing with the structure of the mind, the intelligence, the brain trust. Okay. Because dealing with the structure, your mental capacities. So depending on your level of dominance, depending on your level of dominance, the power of influence. A lot of people have power, but no influence. Just because you have a prophetic release and you release with accuracy, don't mean you have the influence. Just because you have you are, when I said you are empowered and you have the prophetic, when I said insight and download, and you release with accuracy, that don't mean you have the influence. And this is why I say that. You'll find a lot of them will release the word of the Lord, and they get upset. No one's following, no one's this, and no one's, and no one's, and no one, and no one, and no one. Why are you looking for the accolades or the applause of one, which lets me know or lets others know you don't have the influence? Just because you could release the word of the Lord, that don't mean that you're exercising your dominance, which means per your release, there are souls connected to you. And even though you speak of a time stamp or a time in history, and it is being confirmed, those that's connected to you are trusting the release of the word. They're trusting in character. They're trusting in your integrity. Thus, the expansion of your influence, because they have tried you, they have walked with you, and they have come to know you, and they know that what you're releasing is timely, is speaking of the truth. It has a timestamp. Timestamp per the release. And again, some people have power but no sphere of influence, or no influence. I'm sorry again. I'm gonna say it again. And no influence. They have power and no influence. And your influence speak no matter where you go, you walk in your sphere of influence. Per your release, you will get drawn attention. You will be able to speak to the echo chambers. You will be able to speak to the mind, and you'll be able to speak to substance. You'll be able to speak to substance, and you will definitely have their attention. Okay, so it depends on your level of dominance. When I speak of level of dominance, that deals with rank, rule, and reign. Rank, rule, and reign. Rank, rule, and reign. Many have power, but no influence. And dominion. Dominion means it deals with your territory. It deals with your kingdom. It deals with your region. It deals with your territory. Depend on the level of your power or your dominance. You depend on the power of your dominance. Depending on the power of your dominance, which means your sphere of influence, power and influence, you will definitely will take dominion. A lot of us are occupying, but we're not dominating. We're occupying, but not dominating. You're dominating, yet sphere of influence, territories and regions. Okay, territories and regions, territories and region. territories and regions, boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. I don't know why I'm repeating that, because one was sphere of influence. It don't matter. You first conquer the worldview of the mind, the boundaries of the mind, and it don't matter where you go. Basis that the scripture said, everywhere they went, they was doing good. Everywhere they went, they was doing good. Now, if you go certain somewhere, ain't that so and so region over there? Is that so and so region? It said, everywhere you went, they were doing good. And the scripture said, go ye into the world. Go ye into the world. First, go ye into the worldview of the mind, the worldview of the mind, and then cross over into the boundaries of the intelligence, the ideologies, the thoughts, the concepts, whether it's abstract or not. First, going into the worldview of the mind, and now deal with the concepts, the ideologies, the opinions, the diverse abstracts, then dealing with the mental first. First, go into the worldview of the mind. When Christ was in the earth and his blueprint, the first thing he did, what? He dealt with the mind. He dealt with his blueprint. He spoke, he taught. He had to re-engineer, recalibrate what they thought was true based on the blueprint. He had to re-engineer, recalibrate their thought processing. He had to break it down, and he had to become present day truth to interrupt some timeline of some myths and ideologies that intercepted their mind, and they held on to it like it was their truth. So he had to do a little invasion. He had to do a little revolting. He had to be that revolutionary that came to shift and sift and literally and overtake some things. But first, yet in the mind. So you have to change the outlook of things. How do you do that? By way of awakening. And how do you get the awakening? How does your awakening change? By way of those having those aha moments, like, oh my gosh, ooh, that was the revelation. That was hot, mind hacking. And when you have those moments, you're having your soul is being liberated. You're breaking chains. You're breaking constructs. You're breaking concepts. You're literally re-engineering your mind. You're resetting your time. You're resetting time, and you're changing the course of the trajectory. I don't know who this is for. That's why when you are awakened and you start maneuvering differently, you redeem time. How? You redeem time. I don't know who this is for, but you redeem time. You redeem time. Okay. You redeem time. So moving forward. Okay. Depending on the level of your dominance, it will interpret, or it will illustrate your dominion. And I said that to say this because a lot of us are still trying to figure it out. I don't know if I should go over there. I don't know. God told you to go over there. He told you specifically where to go, what side of town, what state, what city, what country, and you're still trying to figure it out. I don't know if I'm supposed to be over there. I don't know if I'm called to be over there. Yeah, he called you. He called you. So yes, you could have power, but no influence. You have to walking in your sphere of influence is an act, and it takes like exercising your authority. We speak of authority so loosely, but that means exercising your sovereignty, exercising your authority, exercising and walking in the grace, exercising and walking in your rank and rule. So I'm talking to these house prophets that's sitting up in your home. Don't mind me on the phone, and I hear the voice of the Lord and releasing the word of the Lord. Move around, move around, move around, and move. A lot of you, I'm saying this and I'm sharing this. I don't know why I'm going there, but a lot of you carry yet the dimensions of the glory. You carry a depth and the wave of the glory that others have yet to experience. And yet you would not allow them to get to you, get close to you. I get it, because you've been hurt, you've been burnt, you've been wounded, and you're still wearing the t-shirt. I get it. But once you get past that pain, and you let go of them, Pookie and them, I'm telling you, then they will experience the wave, the depth, the kabah, the weight of God. So certain people you're supposed to introduce, my God, they're supposed to encounter God differently. But you'll have to come out of that home, come out of the backside of the desert. I'll put it this way. You're hidden in plain sight. You're hidden in plain view. Just because you don't share and you're not releasing, that don't mean that people don't have eyes to see. They could see you. They know who you are. They know who you are. So speaking to those, sharing that. So based on you, and I hope this is blessing you. Please let me know if it's blessing you. For those watching the replay, test hashtag replay. If this is blessing you, please let me know. Please share it. So depending on your dominance, depending on your dominion, you will learn about your enemy, and you will be able to determine your strategy. A lot of us are trying to get strategies by, I'm gonna pray, I'm gonna do this and that, and you thinking that's going to counteract, or that will be a rule of engagement for you when it comes to your enemy. But it's when you start, and this is how you know, is when you not only walk in sovereignty and you walk in your dominion. You know, I say you take over dominion, and at the same time, you're now exercising your right in dominance. You're walking with the authority, and you're operating and moving in Him. You move and have your beings in your rank, rule, and reign as your manifested Son. Is then and when then you'll be able to learn the attacks. You'll be able to learn the strategy of the enemy, and you'll be able to determine. You'll be able to have rules of engagement. Okay, you'll be able to determine your rules of engagement. So while on the journey to your prophetic maturation, I hope this is blessing you. While on the journey to your prophetic maturation, you will discover what speaks to your appetite. You will discover what speaks to your appetite. You will learn about your shortcomings, and you will also learn about your efficiency and how to utilize and reverse engineer and apply methods to your solution for you as a solutionist. You will learn about your shortcomings. That's why we experience hardship, we experience trials and error, because it's then and only then, when our back is up against the wall, then we're able to know that we could withstand pressure. My God. But the pressure first comes to the mind and then to the body. The pressure first comes to the mind. And then to the body. And it's only until when your back is up against the wall, then you realize that you could come fighting back. And not only when you come fighting back, but you're tapping into that inner strength. And it's then that you're tapping to your capacities. I didn't know that I had a fight in me. I didn't know that I had this warfare strategy in me. I didn't know, my God, that I could see from another place. I didn't know. So that's when you're tapping into you. Okay, you're tapping into you, because based on your reverse engineering, and now you will apply the methods. And a lot of us have strategies that we're not applying, and so things will happen, life will happen, and things will come to strip you. Why? To do what? Exercise those methods, exercise those strategies, exercise it so you can become the solutionist. My God, I don't know who this is for. Become the solutionist to that problem. Tapping into your brain trust, tapping into your intelligentsia, tapping into who you are, the core of you, okay, substance in you. And it's then and only then you realize, wow, I was made for much more. You're tapping into your wiring, you're tapping into your DNA. Okay, you're tapping into your DNA. And I'm going to go here. Again, another example of brain trust or advisors. Remember when David wanted to build the tabernacle, he consulted, he had his advisors. Because he had blood in his hands, he couldn't build it. And so he went and got all of the tanith. He went and got all the sources and the sources for the tanith, which means the plan, the blueprint. But because, again, he had blood in his hands, he couldn't build it. So he put everything in place. My God. He pulled everything in place. But David, when he saw the vision, David went into the time. He went into the future. He went to the advancement of time. He saw the advancement of time, came back into his future, share it, and went into counsel. A lot of us, our counsel is worship. Our counsel is praise. However you receive your solution, however you receive your tactics, however you receive the revelation, it could very well be through your prayer, through your worship, whatever it is. And David, because he was a worshiper, that's how he received his. And then what? He counseled with those. Again, because his hands had blood on it, he could not build it. So he entrusted it to his lifeline. He entrusted it to his lifeline. He entrusted it to his legs and his arm. But Solomon expanded the vision by 400%. David only saw tabernacle. Solomon saw tabernacle, a community, a real estate, a subdivision, a whole city. David only saw tabernacle. Could it very well be that you are focusing on the vision, that you're missing the city, the nations, the global impact? Could it very well be that all you're doing is focusing and having that tunnel vision, and you're only horning in and that one part of the vision, but yet the advisors could expand the vision? Could it be that you're stuck and you're, don't want change? And could it be you're using an old strategy from 5 years ago? Because when God gave you that vision, it was 5 years ago, and you're still stuck on that strategy, but forgetting that you have grown, and the vision that was planted in you have grown, has expanded. It's no longer a seed, it's an adolescent stage. For some of you, that vision is a full grown adult, and you don't know what to do, and you're going back into timelines and using an old strategy to apply to advance, my God, advance part of the vision. I don't know who this is for, but again, those that's connected to you that have eyes to see and have ears to hear could expand the vision. Could expand the vision. David only saw the tabernacle, but Solomon saw the tabernacle and the whole community and the whole city, real estate, subdivision, stores, a community center. He saw, the grocery store. He expanded the vision. He expanded the vision. I don't know who this is for. You can't do it by yourself. You can't by yourself. You need help. You can't do it by yourself. You can't do it by yourself. Based on the blueprint, based on the contractor, and based on those that's working, there's a team. There's a team. But like most visionaries, they have ears to hear, because they have to be an echoing of what one sees. And if you have a team that's not echoing what you see, then as visionaries, we're mindful as to who we plant or give or share the vision with. Please listen to hear the echo of the vision. We see to hear the imprints of the vision. And if you don't have it, and you're not echoing what we're seeing and what we're echoing what we're hearing, then we don't entrust, we don't share. And because we have those that have been there, done that, have given so freely and shared so freely, and things didn't take off the ground or whatever, a lot of them are disappointed and they would never do it again. I get it, I understand. But there's an advancers that's coming. There's a people and there's advancers that's coming, that's willing to co-labor with you. Again, visionaries, listen for the echo of what they hear in prayer. Visionaries see and listen to or hearing the imprint, because when I said, or the pulse of God, because the visionary has a radar out and wanting to know and see and hear if you can echo or share parts or specks or images of the vision. And that's how we know to be able to share or give or entrust one with it. Why? Because there's different phases of the vision. And for those that see it, you don't have to keep repeating yourself, because they got it and they have eaten of it, of the scrolls of it, and they visually see it, and now they're running with it. Okay, now they're running with it. And so again, visionaries, first we carry it in times, which means in time it could very well be 3 years, 5 years. For some, you are in your 8th year, and you're still looking for those that they could hear. You could hear the echo of it. You could see the imprint or the images of the specks of it, because we are literally fine tuning, and our radars are up, and we're listening. So we're listening and we're listening. We're going beyond what we're hearing and listening to the spirit. So we will definitely know if they got it or if you got it or not, based on the vision. Okay, based on the vision or the intel of the vision. Just we're sharing that. So as a solutionist, you have the methods, you have the strategies, So you will override the system, you will enforce the system, and you will now annihilate system that's coming to obstruct, that's coming to stop or hinder the move of God. So we will not move blindly, because you'll have someone, and I love this one. I've written about it, and I've always shared about it, but I love to talk about Joshua the strategist. And when Joshua had his military, he sifted his, when I said militia, he sifted his, when I said those that was in the army that was going to war with him. And when Joshua was going into war, he had a team in the front of him, he had a team in and I said a team in the rear of him, and he had a team on the left and had a team to the right. So whenever he moved to the left, based on the shadow of the team to the left, when they moved, he to the left, he moved to the left. When the ones to the right moved to the right, he moved to the right. So therefore, he handpicked them based on their skill set. A lot of us are picking them based on their gift, and because they have prophetic releases, and because they can give you a feel good message. Just because you could see, that don't mean that, my God, that's because you could see, that don't mean you're gifted. That's because you could release, that don't mean you're gifted to carry on the strategy, gifted to carry on the strategies to enter the war zone, gifted to carry on a strategy to enter the war zone. A lot of you give feel good messages and a prophetic release. Yes, I said it, prophetic release. But when we go into a war zone, you can't even enter. You enter on that battlefield, you're going to become a casualty. You're going to become a casualty. And that's how you know who will go with you and who will war with you. And this is how you know. And a lot of based on visionaries, we sift and or team based not only on skill set, but based on maturity. If you have one that's worrying about the whole team, their placement, what they do and what they ain't do, whatever, they are not ready. Because when you're on the military or in that war zone, you are to cover your teammate, not cover your team and what they're doing, and figure out what he or she is doing. And that's how you know one is not ready, because they're not focusing on the agenda and the vision or the outcome at hand. So that's how you know basically if they are ready. If they got to tell you what Spooky and them is doing around the clock, such and such and such, and they're not telling you what the intel is per the vision, per the vision. That's how you know they are not ready. So again, you will go through a lot. Okay, but per your prophetic maturation, you will have a lot of shortcomings. You will do the efficiency, and also you will utilize and reverse engineer, and recalibrate your mind. You will have to apply the methods. You will have to apply the methods. You have to become that solutionist. So test and error, test and error, test and error, trials. Yes, you just seem like you're getting a lot of hit, and could it very well be that you're not listening? Every time I look, I keep getting hit. I keep getting hit. Could it very well be that you're not listening? Every time I look, I'm going to go to the third time. Every time I look, I keep getting hit. Could it very well be that you're not listening? Wisdom has come next to you, nigh your door. Knowledge have come nigh your door. Matter of fact, they have called you, text you, inbox you, and send it to you via messenger. But you're still not listening. Why? I see it this way, and I'm going to do it this way. That's why you keep getting hit. Okay. Could it be that you're not listening, or you're not listening to the dreams, or you're not listening to the vision, or you're even having open vision, but you're not listening and paying attention to the signals, and you wonder why you keep getting hit? A lot of us are stubborn. We're stubborn, and we're just not willing to change. So we have to apply the methods, and you're going to keep getting it until you let go of self, let go of that, and until discipline takes over, I don't know why I'm going there, until discipline gets over, until you master, or self-mastery, until you have self-mastery, which means be able to hear, discern, and let go, and now maneuver and trust in God in totality. You know within yourself, like, oh, this don't sit well with me, but I'm going to trust God. And you're now going into the unknown as a risk taker and as a pioneer, because you're not alone. You are not alone. True visionaries know that whatever they do, there's souls connected to them. There's a people connected to them, and there's nation connected to them. So when they're doing and when they're moving, they're always thinking about a people, a nation, and a collective, when I said people, okay, moving forward. So you, based on your strategies, based on your method. You're going to override system, and you're going to annihilate, shut down systems that's in place to stop, hinder, and block God's chosen. Okay. You will either be the one facilitating the shift, or you will be the one being the revelatory pioneer for this shift called a movement. You will either be the one facilitating the shift. Trust, everybody can't facilitate a shift. Everybody can't be a revolutionary pioneer for the movement of the shift. Everybody want to be a leader, but everybody's not called to facilitate a shift, and everybody's not called to be the revolutionary pioneer of the movement of the shift. And now I'm speaking to the seers, the speaker. I hope I didn't lose you. I hope I didn't lose you. If this is blessing you, please share. Tell a friend that this is blessing you. Tell a friend this is blessing you. For those that will be watching the replay, click hashtag replay. Now I'm speaking to the seers. I'm speaking to the seers. You will serve as a lens. You will serve as a lens. You will serve as a lens through which these issues can be viewed from. Based on your sight, you will serve as a lens. Your lens, you will be able to speak through the precision of time. You will be able to change one's perspective based on you targeting the issues. Based on the lens that you're looking through, you'll be able to look at the issue, troubleshoot that issue, and bring a different perspective. Now, again, I said to look through the lens and deal with the issue, and to be able to change the perspective. So therefore, you're bringing change. You're speaking change, and you're bringing change. And now what you're doing is putting order into a system. You're putting a systematic order in place. You're bringing change to the economy. You're bringing change to education. You're bringing change to finance. You're bringing change to religion. Okay. The change that's in place requires your intelligence. It requires your eagle eyes. It requires your precision. Okay. And the glory of God is the intelligence. You being the glory carrier brings forth the intelligence. You bring the mind of God, the consciousness of God to the creator. So yes, a lot of these battles seem like it's personal, but it's not personal. They're coming against the intelligence. They're coming against the mind of God. They're coming against the consciousness of God. And that goes by way of your release, by way of you speak, by way of your maneuver. So again, it's not personal, based on what you are purposed to do, based on what you are called or purposed to do. Okay, but you are the intelligence, yeah, the brain trust. Okay, you might think intelligence means brain gifted at academic work, but intelligence also means applying the knowledge. Though you have eyes to see and ears to hear, a lot of us are getting strategies by way of dream, by way of wisdom and knowledge, by way of counsel. But are we applying the intelligence of God? Are we applying the strategies? Are we applying the knowledge we obtain for righteous purposes, which means to make right, to bring things in right standing, to changing the structure or the order of things? Are you applying the knowledge? A lot of us, when we receive that strategy, we receive those downloads. What this is what we do. We put it on hold. We put it in a place of reservation and preservation until we need it. Until we need it. Are you applying the knowledge to be able to obtain for righteous purpose? Nothing has had a greater impact upon our lives than fulfilling purpose. Fulfilling purpose. When I say fulfilling purpose, this ain't have nothing to do with you. When I'm ready, I'm not ready to do that. I got to do this. I got to do that. Fulfilling purpose. See, when you are yielded and there's a life mastering, and you have yielded to the will or yielded to the purpose, yielded it to the eternity, yielded to God's consciousness, yielded to the God himself, the creator himself, and not about I'm not ready for, don't know what I'm going to do, I'm not this, I'm not that. So therefore, the mind in totality have not yielded, because you'll know once you are yielded. God says, I know the plans that I have for you. So everything in your life lines up. Everything in your life lines up. Everything in your life lines up. Okay. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for time. Trust, I've been there, done that, and I had to realize that I had to, God had to check me on that. Had to change my wiring. I'm waiting for the right moment. I'm waiting on this, and God telling me, He said, you waiting on me. I'm waiting on you. So we're waiting for time to manifest in time, forgetting that we navigate time. We set time. We introduce time. We are the navigators of time. We reset time. We're the revelators of time. So here it is now. We're orchestrating time, syncopating time. And the time that we're syncopating and orchestrating is waiting on the fulfillment of us. All creation is waiting on us. What? To align, to syncopate, to become one, to be a manifester of time, to be a manifester of history, to be a manifester of what is obvious to the eye, all creation, to be a manifester of the creation, the consciousness of God, to be a manifester of the glory of God. So while you're waiting on time, time is waiting on you. Time is waiting on you. So in closing, and if this has blessed you, tell me, tell a friend, to hashtag replay. Okay, if this has blessed you, now coming to a close. You have to be able to embrace who you are, mind, body, and spirit. Embrace who you are in totality. Embrace who you are in totality. It don't matter if they don't accept or embrace you. You have to embrace yourself. If you're still worried about how they embrace you, if they're not accepted you and they're rejected you, is because you have rejected yourself and you have not embraced you. Because once you embrace you, it doesn't matter what they think and how they think and if they're embracing you or not. But once you're self-rejecting yourself, your mind, not God's mind, your mind has to be a transform. It will be what renewed. Your mind is still worrying. Your thoughts is still worrying about, will they accept what they said about me? What this one, what that, and that one. But the mind of Christ, you transform. Your mind transform. Think higher thoughts. And it's not thinking that they're going to accept, they're going to embrace. Your mind renewed, you having the mind of Christ, is not thinking of those low-hanging fruit. Your thinking is higher. Your thought process is higher. So it don't matter what Pookie and them did. It don't matter if they're not in sync. Or I'm telling you, your mind transformed things on a higher plane, things that have a higher vibration. You move differently. You think differently. You're wired differently. Okay. And so when you think differently, you embrace the totality of you, flaws and all. And when you think like that, embracing you in totality, you will then come to realize that you are the vault of God. Everything you need is in you. Everything you need is in you. You are God's vault of records. You are God's historian. You are God's timekeeper. You're God's gatekeeper. You are the vault of records. You're God's timekeeper. You're God's gatekeeper. My God. You're God's brain trust. You're God's intelligence. You're God's, my God, consciousness. You hold the details. You're God's revelator. You hold the details and the timestamp of history. You hold the details and the timestamp of history. You are the future move of God. You speak the future moves of God. You release the future moves of God. You are the timekeeper. You are the adventure of time. Because you have tasted time, you release time into time. Because you are the adventure of time, you release time into time. You are the advancement of time. You are the advancer of time. Your release will reveal your relationship with the Father. Your release will reveal your relationship with the Father. I don't know. I'm going to say it one more time. Your release will reveal your relationship with the Father, while also giving the world a preview of what's to come. while also giving the world a preview what's to come, of what's to come. So you're speaking time, you're intercepting time, you're syncing time, you're aligning time, you're the gatekeeper, timekeeper. My God. Historian keeper. You create history. You are history. You're the timestamp. When you speak, when they see you show up on the scene, you are speaking of the coming moves of God. What you're building, what you're implementing via your business and your ministry speaks about the timing of God in the earth realm and how the generations to come will benefit from your blueprint, speaking the mind of Christ. Speaking the mind of Christ. So a lot of you have yourself on hold. It's time for you to come off a hold. It's time for you to move forward. It's time. It's time. It's time. All creation have been waiting for you. Time has been waiting for you. Time has been waiting for you. And I hope and I pray that this has blessed you. If it has, please share the link. Please tell a friend. And if you can't, please follow me on YouTube on the lavellamcgary.com. And again, I hope this has blessed you on tonight. You are the brain trust. You're the blueprint. You are God's design in the earth realm. You're God's design in the earth realm. You're the intelligentsia. You're speaking at the mind. So that's why a lot of us have a voice but no sound. Because what has come is to take your voice away, to take your sound away. Because what you speak and yet what you release speaks yet the mind of Christ. So take or get back your power. Release yet the sound of God. Release the sound of God. Okay? Releasing the timing of God. So stop with the inner conflict. Enough with the inner conflict. Still trying to figure out who you are. Still trying to embrace the title. Embrace your sonship. The title will come after. Embrace your sonship in totality. Embrace your sonship in totality, and the title will come after. Embrace your sonship in totality. And the title will come after. The title, because a lot of us are working in the title and there's no evidence of the relationship, the manifested son. So embrace your manifested son, your relationship with God. Embrace that. Work on your relationship. Tighten up that bond. Become more intimate. Allow the voice of God not only to speak to the very core, every area, every part of your. A lot of us are having experiences when in fact we should be having encounters. The way we experience God today should trump the way we encounter God. I should say it this way, should trump our experiences. And for those that have a relationship, could get into the presence of the Lord just like that. Could get into the presence of the Lord just like that, based on the relationship. But if we have to be systematically regimented, we have to listen to those 4 songs too fast, too so, and we got to listen to that special song to send us into, because we need to be wired, we need to be pumped. But based on your relationship, you don't have a problem entering into his presence, and you don't have a problem releasing yet the anointing, releasing the anointing. So I pray that this has blessed you. God bless you. And then join me again here the next coming segment as we have other mind trusts that will be joining us here, speaking the time and speaking the pulse of God and speaking yet the plans of God. So thank you so much for joining me on tonight. God bless you. God bless you.